I'm delighted to welcome our powerful author, Necia B, the author of The Ride of My Life and her upcoming book, Broken Hearted, to Chelsea Story Nook Podcast. Welcome to the show, Necia.
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much. I'm super excited for both of your books to be out there. Let's start with the introduction. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm an author, a writer, a poet, an actress, and an entrepreneur from Philly, born and raised. Came from a rough childhood, and now I'm living my dreams as an author and an actress and so many more.
I'm excited to hear more about your book. So let's dive right in. For those who may not be familiar with your book, can you give us an overview of The Ride of My Life and talk about your upcoming book, The Broken Hearted?
Yeah, so The Ride of My Life is a very, very, very emotional book. It talks about my childhood and my adulthood, how I went through physical, emotional, and mental and verbal abuse through family and so-called friends, and how I'm on a journey of healing from it. I've been writing it since I was 12, but I took a break from it to focus on school. And now that I'm back into writing, I never wanted to be a writer, but I took the path that God led me to. And now my book is out for my story to be told.
I want to know another thing. So what inspired you to write this book? And can you share your story with the world?
What inspired me to write it was I started out in a journal to express my emotions because I don't know how to express them. And in my home, expressing your feelings meant you were either talking back to the person or you would get yelled at or hit on for expressing yourself. So I would always write in a journal about how I felt. And I eventually turned it into poetry later on when one of my friends, who also is a poet, had read one of my poems and was like, "You inspire me to write. You should go ahead and tell your story." I didn't do it right off. It took years for me to actually go ahead and publish it because I never wanted my story to be out there. If everybody that knows me know that I don't like to tell my personal life story. I don't like nobody be like, "Oh, I feel sorry for you." I don't want none of that. So I never wanted to put it out there. But everybody kept telling me to go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. So eventually I gave in and went on to publish it after I had won a writer's award in high school, which I never until someone one of my friends actually pointed that out to me. It was like, "Look, you got an award, it's on the wall." Oh my God. And that's when I'm like, okay, maybe God is telling me that you need to go ahead and write. This is your career, this is your dream, this is your passion, this is your journey. Follow my lead. So I went on and followed it, and that's when I went on and caught multiple publishers that denied me. And finally, I got someone who was willing to take in my work, and she has a publishing company called Black Gold Publishing, and they was willing to do it for me. Wow. And it's funny because I kept saying, I don't want to write, I don't want to write, I want to be an actress, I want to help the community. When I started acting, things was going good, and then it took one movie where it went bad, and I actually seen how people truly are in the industry. So I backed away from it, and I'm like, is God telling me that acting is not for me and that I need to just go ahead and write, and that's my passion right there, that's my career? So I'm like, nah, I don't want to go for that. I want to help the community. And then profit organization from the Heart Foundation, where we gave back to the community. We did back to school jobs, homeless feeding. We did a Thanksgiving dinner and so much more. And I'm like, okay, this is my passion right here. Then writing came back up. So I'm like, okay, God telling me this is it.
This is like her second book, guys. So you better check it out. Go ahead and purchase her first book and her upcoming book. Be sure to look out for that. So one of the things that stood me out while reading your synopsis, the summary of your book, was how candid and heartfelt your writing is. Can you share one of the most challenging moments you faced as described in The Ride of My Life and The Brokenhearted?
Challenges that I had was getting it started. It was hard to get it started because every time I did write, I would cry because the emotions was coming out, and I would just leave it alone. And then, but then I would go back to it later on because when I laid down, everything started coming to my mind. So I'm like, okay, so I started jotting everything on my phone as I'm sending it up, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's what I need. I needed to get all my emotions out, and I needed to lay down to clear my head to get the rest of it out. And yeah, that was very challenging. It was hard.
I mean, so your resilience truly shines in your writing. I mean, you're inspiring, you're still young, and I want to know, how do you hope your story will impact readers, especially those going through similar challenges?
I think that once I get my story out there and everybody reads it, they will be able to tell their story. They will be able to stand up for themselves and find their voice. It takes a very long time to find your voice. It took me forever to find my voice. It took me at least, I had to been about maybe 16 years old when I first started standing up for myself.
Wow.
And it felt so good because it's like I finally got the power now. I got power for people to stop taking advantage of me. I got the power to people to stop controlling me. I got the power to finally speak up without whatever the case may be. So it means a lot for me to let people know, like, listen, you could tell your story. You could find your voice. You could tell your truth, tell your testimony, because at the end of the day, nobody can tell your story better than you.
Yes. Like, can you share how you became an author and the experiences from your past that brought you to this point?
Started in a journal, and then I turned the journal to poetry to give it more flow and rhyme. And then I had my friends and therapists read it, and when they read it, they was like, your story is amazing. Go ahead and tell it. So that's what made me go ahead and tell my story.
Those are such powerful messages, Necia, and story that is needed for the world. As we come to a close, could you share any upcoming events or future plans that you're excited about? Would you like your audience to know?
Yes, so I have my upcoming book signing tour that's coming up. Once I get the green light, I could go ahead and post the dates up. My second book, I'm still waiting on the release date for that, but I do have an event coming up on July the 27th in Philadelphia. This event's me, but a lot of survivors. This is called Crime Survivors. That's what it's called.
Oh, wow.
And they come in here in Philly on July the 27th, and I will be at the event to speak about my story.
I see. Is that a free event, or anybody could join?
It's a free event. Everybody could come. It's free event. It's from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., I believe. And then they going to Washington, D.C. on September the 27th to march from the Capitol to the White House. And that's a free event as well.
Go and see her on that event. She's going to have more updates on your social media. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at it's Necia B, ITZNECIA. The letter B has a boy, and my Facebook is the same.
Awesome. Go ahead, go follow her, go like all her posts, guys. Go support her. She's an incredible, inspirational person that proves that she can do it. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Necia, for joining us today and sharing your insight. And it's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Necia. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the episode of Chelsea Story Nook Podcast. Be sure to check out Necia B, the author, The Ride of My Life, and her upcoming book, The Brokenhearted, and follow her on upcoming events. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, keep reading, keep imagining, and keep believing in the miracle stories. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on today's episode of Chelsea Story Nook Podcast.
Don't forget to order a copy of Carol the Carrot Bowls for the Salad Bowl on Amazon now. Tune in to other authors' podcast interviews for exciting discussions about their latest books and exclusive sneak peeks. Until next time, keep reading, keep imagining, and keep believing in the miracle stories. Make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the notification button. I'm Chelsea Kim signing off. Take care and carry it on.